This is the main storage cabinet of the RV. It can be locked using the key on the keychain. Inside here is all the connections that you'll need for water and electricity, and this will be your main storage area. This compartment here next to the main door is the propane tank. You shouldn't need to use that at all, but in case you need to do an emergency shut off for the propane, it's located right here. The driver's side of this vehicle is the generator. It's in this compartment right here. Again, you shouldn't need to access this, but just showing you where it is in case you need to. This compartment here is how you drain the black and gray waters. So first thing you'll do is you'll take a hose, which is located in the bumper in the back here, and then you connect that to this piece right here. Then next you'll open the black valve, drain the black water, close it, and then you'll open the gray valve, drain the gray water, and then close that as well. Once you've completed the draining procedure, you can move to the inside of the vehicle and drop one of the tablets located inside, which we'll show you later, and that will help keep the water clean and not smelling at all. And let me just show you, so this is the main electrical hookup. This is your gas refill for unleaded fuel, and then your main connections for city water if you're connecting at a local campsite. This connection here is where you'll connect to an outside water source if you ever need to refill the tank. And again, you can check the level inside and when it's getting low. The top right under the outlet is the awning control. You have control to turn on the light as well as move the awning in and out. And then there's a light for the steps. And then here is some switches for the internal lights. This here, you'll need to just keep it on the on position. That's like, you know, emergency shut off if needed, you know, similar to how you would shut off electricity at the house using your electric panel. So you don't need to touch that. And then this device, you don't need to touch as well. So that's it for right here. And next I'll show you some of the main plumbing controls. The main controls for the generator, the water heater, the water pump. So first, if you need to turn the generator on, you can see the yellow sticker. That's where you'll do that. First, you'll put it, hold down the switch to the stop condition, and then turn it up to the start until you hear the generator start. Obviously, you need to run the generator to keep the battery charged when you're not connected to a main power source at a camping ground. And that's necessary to run all the electric components when you're not running it off of a battery. Next is the water pump. You'll need to turn that on if you're not connected to the water source. That gives you your water pressure. So whenever you need to use the facilities, make sure the water pump is turned on. And then if you're not using it, you can always turn that off. And then next is the water heater. So that works two different ways. That works with electricity. So the switch on the right is if you're connected to a main power source, you can run that off of 110 volt. But if you're not connected to any power source, you can run the water heater with the liquid propane, which you'll want to turn that into the on position in that case. Now you really don't want to be running the generator or the propane when you're moving. It's best just to do that when you're stationary. And then the last thing I'll explain is the top right here. There's some controls where you can test the different levels of the propane tank, the battery, and the fresh gray and black water tanks there. Next, we'll take a look at the battery charging. You want to make sure we're charging with outside electricity source or running the generator, so those 4 lights show there. And the bottom voltage should be no less than 11.5 volts. Next is the interior air conditioning unit. So this isn't going to be, you know, working when you're on the road and driving. So you need to have the generator on for this to work, or you need to be connected to an outside power source like a campground connection. There are controls here to change the cooling levels as well as the fan levels. But again, the main thing to know is this will only be working with the generator running or connected to an outside power source. It's not going to run off the car battery. Here is the microwave. The microwave will be running off electricity. So again, you'll need to be connected to an outside power source. This stove here runs off the propane. So again, whenever you're using the stove top or the oven, you want to make sure the propane switch that we showed you earlier is turned on. Next is the refrigerator. The refrigerator controls are up here at the top, but you won't need to really change those. You should always keep that on. The way the refrigerator works is it's going to work with the gas or propane when there's not electric source that it's connected to. But when you do connect to an outside electric source, then it'll automatically switch over to using electricity versus propane. So keep those switches in the same positions they are now. You don't need to touch them. So the top is the freezer, the bottom is the fridge. To open it, there's just a button you need to push here. So this is the inside of the refrigerator, and then the top here is the freezer compartment. Again, runs on either propane or an outside electric source that you're connected to. Inside of the RV, there are plates, cups, pots and pans, and other things that you may need as well in this drawer here. Also in the back of the RV, you'll have some materials for bedding. In the back of the RV, you'll be able to find bedding, pillows, blankets, sheets, towels located. Here's a control in the back. This works the heater, which is located right here. Storage, these here at the top, at the bottom, there's drawers. And then in the back, you know, for all your clothes, you can use that storage as well. So for sleeping, you have, of course, the main bed in the back here. This table can turn into a bed. Underneath, there's a handle to lower the table, and then you would slide the cushions over to give you that sleeping space. And then the last sleeping area is, of course, at the top here, and you have a TV located there for your viewing pleasure. And USB chargers located throughout the RV. You can see here in one of the main cabinets, there's some, of course, by the electrical controls. There's an outlet. Underneath the table, there's outlets. There's USB chargers located throughout. And then in the bathroom, there's also an outlet. So just here in the middle, quickly, there's a drawer with some cables that you might be able to use. Phone holder, radio device. There is an easy pass. You can see that in the top right there. And then under the rear mirror is a dash cam that's only forward facing. So here does not go off automatically, so you'll have to manually turn it off when it's